Hello everybody, my name is Diego Hernandez and welcome to another Thirsty True Crime Thursday. Today we'll be talking about the infamous inspiration to the movie Scream and the pop culture horror icon known as Ghostface. So without further ado, let's get into this Thirsty True Crime Thursday.
Randomly selected, then obviously you begin to wonder how secure you are in your own home. That's one of the
days to reach its recommendations.
Those recommendations were unanimous and identical. Jurors deciding 12-0 that Danny Rolling should die in the electric chair.
Rolling. They said that Rolling fully expected to one day face a death sentence for the horrific crimes he committed here 3.5 years ago. Unanimous death recommendations for each of Rolling's murders.
Danny Rolling, for whatever reason, and it's far beyond what I'll ever understand, decided to visit horror on this town and on these students in ways that it's unimaginable.
Rolling terrorized his victims: Sonia Larson, Christina Powell, Krista Hoyt, Manny Tabuada, and Tracy Paulus.
Danny Rawlings was born on May 26, 1954 in Louisiana. Unfortunately, Danny's father did not want children. Apart from being a cop, he also abused his wife and children. Danny was only 1 year old when his father abused him for the very first time. He was beaten because he didn't know how to crawl properly. When Kevin, Danny's younger brother, was born, the abuse only got worse. His mother tried to leave the seemingly toxic relationship, but she would return time and time again. When Danny failed the 3rd grade, his mother had a nervous breakdown. Danny's school counselors described him as suffering from inferiority complex with aggressive tendencies and poor impulse control. This would foreshadow Danny's murderous rage later in his life. By age 11, he picked up music to cope with the abuse coming from his father. He played the guitar and sang hymn-like songs. Around this time, his mother was hospitalized after she tried slitting her wrist. Danny picked up drugs and alcohol, which didn't help with his already fragile mental state. At age 14, Danny's neighbors caught him peeking into their daughter's room. Of course, his father beat him for this, but Danny tried to stay in control and still attend church. And he also struggled to hold down a job. Eventually, he joined the United States Air Force, as the Navy would not take him. But the military did not provide him any comfort, and he eventually quit the Air Force after too much drug use. After his military discharge, Danny managed to marry, and began what seemed to be a pretty normal life. Unfortunately, his wife left him at the age of 23, after he threatened to kill her. This was in 1977. Danny turned his devastation into anger and raped a woman who resembled his ex-wife. Later that year, he killed a woman in a car accident, which troubled him even further. At 6 feet 2 inches, Danny Rawlings was a massive, powerful man. From the 70s to the 90s, Danny committed petty crimes and thefts. He turned to a series of armed robberies to get cash, and was in and out of the criminal justice system in Louisiana, Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama. He broke out of prison several times and quit jobs just as frequently. Meanwhile, the bodies of 3 victims were found in Shreveport: 24-year-old Julie Grissom, her father Tom, and her 8-year-old nephew Sean, who were all killed around the same time Danny lost his last job and returned home to vengeance. Danny Rawlings snapped, however, in 1990, when he shot his 58-year-old father twice and nearly killed him. Though he survived, James Rawlings lost an eye and an ear. Danny then changed his identity with papers that he stole after breaking into somebody's house and moved to Florida to start a new life in July of that same year. But running away to Florida did not cure him, it only made him worse. On August 24th of 1990, Danny broke into the home of Sonia Larson and Christina Powell, both incoming freshmen at the University of Florida in Gainesville. Rolling followed them home, where he broke into their house and simply overpowered them. Rawlings covered both girls' mouths with duct tape and bounded their hands. He then forced one of them to perform oral sex on him before he raped, stabbed, and killed both the girls. He even went as far as to cut the girls' nipples and keep one of them as a trophy. He then left the bodies posed for the police to find. The man also had the audacity to take a shower in the girls' bathroom. The next day, he killed Krista Hoyt in somewhat of the same fashion. Only this time, after he raped her, he cut off her head and put her body at the edge of the bed. The Gainesville Ripper then put her head on a bookshelf. By now, news of the murder spread like wildfire throughout the university. Authorities put out as much information as possible to catch the Gainesville Ripper. The students even slept in groups. However, this didn't work, as Rawlings went on to kill again. On August 27 of the same year, Rawlings went on to kill Tracy Pauls and Manuel Taboada, both in their sleep. However, he didn't mutilate the bodies. because he may have been interrupted or feared being caught. All of these murders occurred 2 miles away from each other, around the University of Florida. The university went as far as to cancel school for a whole week, and up to 700 students left as they feared their lives. Danny went so much time without being caught because his father, apart from abusing him, taught him how to cover his tracks. Danny would dispose of the duct tape he used on this victim and use cleaning solvents to clean any forensic evidence he left on the bodies. However, the only clue he left for the police was that he would leave his victims' bodies in a sexual position. He continued to steal from homes and gas stations until he was finally caught in Ocala after stealing a Winn-Dixie. But authorities didn't know they had the Gainesville Ripper in front of them. It wasn't until September 8, 2 weeks after the murders, they looked at his criminal history and connected him with the triple murder in Shreveport after he left Julie Grissom in the same sexual positions he would leave the bodies, and she was also stabbed to death. Rawlings eventually confessed to being the Gainesville Ripper 4 months later, and prosecutors found enough evidence to convict Danny, and he was executed on October 25, 2006 in Florida. A total of 47 people witnessed his execution. Danny's last meal consisted of lobster tail served with butter, butterfly shrimp with cocktail sauce, a baked potato with sour cream and butter, strawberry cheesecake, and sweet tea. On his deathbed, the 52-year-old sang hymn-like songs, just like he did when he was little, when he learned to play the guitar to be in peace, before eventually being executed due to lethal injection. That just about wraps up this scary true crime Thursday. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this kind of content, and let me know what you guys want to hear next in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to follow my Instagram and my TikTok, and I do have a Twitter if you ever want to send any scary stories for me to react to, and I'll react to them in a later video. As always, I'm your host Diego Hernandez, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.